What's up out there? I figured it would be a good time to watch old Granny's channel and see what she had to say. I think she has a very, very important message that a friend of ours has seemed to miss. But we will play her now. Hope everybody's doing good this evening.
Howdy, howdy, everybody. I just started watching a video that Uncle Will did yesterday, and I'm not quite all the way through it, but I'm going to make this as a response to the video that he posted. And it's regarding Carl Smith. I gather his name is. I've seen a couple of different videos in the last few days, and I've been aware.
Carl, I know you're probably in the shadows watching. If you was wise, you would listen to what this lady has to say. What's up, Josh? How you doing?
Of Carl for a while.
Like I am a wolf. Fucking undeniably. But the
Uh,
ones who think they are a wolf, they're not a wolf. They're the biggest sheep of all.
I found this statement very, very interesting. Carl states he's a wolf, but the ones who think they're wolves are the biggest sheep of all. Doesn't that collapse your argument right on top of itself? You're claiming you're a wolf. That's not a good thing to claim. That's number one. And number two, you're claiming you're a wolf, so you think you're a wolf, but the ones that think they're wolves are the biggest sheep of all. Would that not make you a sheep yourself?
Bah.
I have
Booty
not paid
cheese.
close attention, so I'm going to
We
share
see
with
you peeping.
everyone my perception of Carl, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'd like to come at this from a compassionate and constructive point of view, if I may. And I'm not going to tag Carl in this. I am going to tag my brother.
This lady is matter of fact, she's out by you, little me. She hasn't been around in I want to say probably about 10 months, but she's a real spiritual lady and really, really wise. But let's just see what she has. Yeah, Info Warriors, very, very wild, man. Very, very wild.
From another mother, Uncle Will, to hopefully open a dialogue, because there are people like Carl out there that are very, very confused right now. And my objective is to hopefully untangle some of that confusion, because the further down the road we get right now, the more confusing everything's going to be. And if
Ain't that
folks
the truth?
lose their way
What's
and
up,
they're
little
not
man?
able to tell the difference between real and fake, it's going to cost them. And so I highly encourage everyone who is capable of kind of
Little
processing this
man, what's happening
information
with
to
you,
really
man?
think about what it is that I'm
Sean, what's
saying,
going
if
on?
you will.
What does Carl want?
From what little I have seen of Carl, number one, he
What's
appears
up, AK?
determined to be told by Mr. Ryan Upchurch that he is quote unquote chosen, or a chosen one. Number two, Carl presents himself as someone with the attitude of, I know something you don't know, and then proceeds to bash people with whatever knowledge he thinks he's obtained, whether it's about God, Jesus, children, the Great Awakening. I've seen in a number of
Very
different
confused.
areas where Carl has attempted to present himself as a prophet or a chosen one. And in my opinion, it's to elevate himself above another human being, which is going to be a key piece of information for Carl to really examine himself. So I have a few questions for Carl right off the bat. Carl, or anyone who is interested in kind of dissecting all of this. Carl seems fixated on being told by Mr. Ryan Upchurch that he's quote unquote chosen. What is that going to do, Carl? How is that going to help the world? How is that going to save the children that you keep speaking about? For you to be advised that you're quote chosen, and not only advised that you're chosen, but advised by another human being. Mr. Ryan is a very inspirational character, and he's very talented, and he's a very high profile figure, but he's also a flawed human being. What would give him the authority to tell you anything? And you see, that brings me to my next point. If you're seeking answers from another flawed human being to tell you whether you're chosen or not chosen, there's your answer right there, because any spiritual spiritual growth that takes place on this plane, in this realm, in this world, whatever you want to call it, is going to take place within your own heart. And if you're living within your own heart, you don't need to be told by another human being what you are or what you're not. You'll know who you are and you'll know why you're here. And that would be my best suggestion to Carl and everyone, is to seek the answers within themselves. Because if you're seeking the title of quote unquote chosen one from a high profile human being, as much as I admire Mr. Ryan, he is a human being and he's flawed. We're all flawed. We're here in human flesh for a reason. And there are some who have a bigger voice than others. So if you're seeking that title from another human being that you know will reach a large number of other human beings, what is it exactly that you're seeking, Carl? Are you seeking to be elevated as a quote chosen one and lifted up onto a pedestal by Mr. Ryan Upchurch because he has a vast audience that listen to him? If that is the case, my friend, you are seeking the admiration and adoration of other human beings. That's not good. Only
At all.
audience you should ever seek the approval of is the Most High himself, because the little g gods of this world and the main little g god of this world will convince you inside and out that you need to seek the approval of human beings around you. And that little g god will also convince you that that little piece of information, that I know something you don't know piece of information, that little g god will convince you that that can become a weapon. Because with all due respect, Carl, the only thing that I've seen you do with this piece of valuable information is use it against other people in an attempt to emotionally manipulate them if they don't do what you say they should do. And the knowledge of what's happening with the little ones never was, is not, and never will be intended to be used as a weapon. Ever. And you can choose to continue
Amen.
to conduct yourself in the exact way that you have. That will be up to you. If you're using it to your advantage to draw attention to yourself, that is a dark and twisty road. Whether you choose to turn back and come back to ground zero will be up to you. But make no mistake, it is not about us. It's about them. It always has been and it always will be.
Mm.
You obviously have knowledge of the Great Awakening. You have knowledge of what's happening with the kids, and you're not doing anything constructive with it. You're just beating people over the head with the fact that that's going on. I think you even said Uncle Will had the devil inside of his head or in his heart. If your ambition is to save the children, please stop using them as a shield. Stop hiding behind their plight to get a leg up in an argument because it's gross. Why don't you advise people what's happening? Why don't you advise people how it's happening? Why don't you advise people why they need all the little ones to begin with? Why don't you go take a trip in history and go back all the way to the beginning and figure out the depth and the source that demands the little ones? Why don't you figure those things out and share it with the world instead of taking that little piece of information and clobbering people over the head with it? You want to help the little ones? Stop making it about you being called a chosen one. Stop beating people up with your idea of who Jesus is and who God is, and reel it back into your own heart. Reconnect to Jesus. Because when you do legit reconnect, you'll be able to re-examine everything and review how you've conducted yourself and the methods and tactics that you've tried to use to obtain something that only benefits you. Because let me let you in on a little secret. Everyone here right now who is witnessing what is happening in the world has been chosen to be here. Okay? Everyone's a chosen one. Now, whether all the chosen ones choose to reconnect to JC and the Most High, El Padre, to become a participant to make this world a better place, it'll be up to us. And whatever job that has been chosen for us to accomplish by the Most High, we will know within our own heart the need as a human being to be elevated above other human beings is an elitist, authoritarian, dictator mindset. And that mindset, that's not why we're here. It was never supposed to be that way. Because when you reel it in and you reconnect, you know who you are and you don't need anybody else to tell you who you are. And you also realize that you don't have the authority to tell someone else who they are and who they're not either. Your life becomes about staying in your own lane and keeping your eyes on your own paper. And like Lil Me said, shout out Lil Me, cleaning up your own backyard. And I hope that makes sense.
She knows who you are,
And
Lil
look,
Me.
I know to some many of the things that I said may have been a little bit harsh. But if you've listened to my other videos and you know my background, you know how I grew up with my brothers and my cousins, and this was tame, trust me. But I do want to make something very, very clear. The only reason that I'm even making this video is because I wholeheartedly believe that Carl is a very lost soul. But I do see that there's a struggle and good within him. And I could be wrong. I have not personally seen where Carl has crossed lines that are so severe that there's just no coming back from. And if there's anyone out there that knows more than I do, give me a heads up. But from what I gather, according to his wife, he was fine for 18 years. And there was some catalyst that took him into this headspace that he's in right now, which is concerning. But there's obviously clear evidence that he lived a perfectly normal life for quite some time. And Carl, unlike many of the other YouTube petting animals that seem to scream and beg and cry and whine for attention, at the moment, I believe that there's something salvageable about Carl. And that's why I've made this video. It doesn't excuse some of the things he's said and done, but I still, at the moment, I'm holding out hope that somewhere within him, the real Carl can garner enough strength to fight back against whatever energies is causing this strife within himself. And I still hold out hope that he'll be able to return to the man that he was for his family, maybe even a better version. And being a wife myself for many, many years, and with my husband since I was a teenager, been together a long, long time, I would be very bummed out if something happened to my husband and just out of the blue, he turned into a completely different person. That would be harsh. So I'm holding out hope that things can turn around for their whole family. And so at the very least, I am hoping that this will get his attention and anyone else who may be going down that road as well. And I'm going to end this off with some clips that I had originally put in the very first video that I did. And it may be enough information for people to further dig into the depth and the source of demand and the true reason and origin of why the little ones are in jeopardy to begin with. I've always got to put this kind of disclaimer when I insert any of the clips from that very first video I did, because not only did I not know what I was doing, but I also recorded it in a hobby room that has a window AC unit that would be the equivalent of a 110-year-old man in, you know, with COPD and on his last leg. So that's the loud noise in the background. And there's some hemming and hawing in my voice too. So pardon the audio, y'all. If everyone has a moment, please go on to the FBI website and look in the declassified section. Look up the finders. The finders. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but I'm going to summarize it. There's a case from 1987. Took place in the state of Florida. Two well-dressed men were spotted with, I think it was 6 children. The kids were ranged in age from, I think, 2 or 3 to 12. They looked malnourished and disheveled, dirty. It caught someone's attention who alerted the authorities. An investigation ensued. It led back to a location in Washington, D.C., where they obtained a large amount of material, disturbing material. Sorry, guys, needed a second. Yeah, they came back to Washington, D.C., where they obtained a lot of material, including an instruction manual on how to kidnap and transport children. And I can't remember whether it's in that document or a surrounding document. Dig into what agency stepped in and shut the entire investigation down and made it disappear from the media, never to be thought of. Because it was, in fact, the clowns in America that were paying and sponsoring these men and others to kidnap and transport children. Because you see, the Finders was a cult, a real cult. And I see a lot of talk about accusing of an entire group of people being cult members, not having a mind of their own. It's slightly insulting. So if your desire is to expose a cult, please dig into the finders and share that information with the public. That would actually be beneficial for people to learn of what they were up to. Because I see a lot of talk about that island as if that's the only island. And that was the only setup. You know, the island with the guy that did or didn't commit suicide, whatever. I hope he's where he belongs. Were there any islands that surrounded that island? Like within traveling distance, reasonable traveling distance? Maybe say an island or two that were titled under the ownership of an agency.
You can't handle the truth. Appreciate it.
Or any, if there were any islands, or maybe one or two of them sold off to the family member of a high profile politician, perhaps. And if it was that, if there are islands there and they can be traveled to and from, how would they do that? How would they travel back and forth? Speedboat, rowboat, sailboat, dinghy, snorkeling fins, or something more sophisticated?
What's
like
up, Jay?
Submarine. Would be interesting to discover if there were submarine bays underneath the water at these quote unquote islands, and the main island as well. Would be even more curious if
What's up, eyes open?
a very close associate of the dude that did or didn't kill himself had a submarine pilot license. See, there's a lot more to it than just that island and just that one route that was set up by the finders, guys. It's so much bigger than that. And this has all been going on right in front of our faces. So while we're all fighting each other and pointing fingers at each other and screaming at each other, and nobody's sitting down to really communicate, this was all going on in the background, right in front of our faces. This can't ever happen again.
You know, one thing I'll say about that lady is she was very, very, very intelligent. Or she is, I hope. I say is, like, because I don't know what happened to her. I don't know if she just went silent or if something happened. I know she was having some issues. But yeah. When you really want to help children, you do it, right? You don't cuss everybody else out and scream at them about not doing something that you're not willing to do yourself. That's why nobody believes you, dude, is because you can't just sit on your couch or your chair or whatever and scream at everybody else all day long and expect to get anything done. You're going to get the same results that you've been getting for the last couple of years. In my opinion, you don't have any desire to help nobody. You just want the attention from it. When you tell everybody else to go do this, go do that, you're not everybody's boss, bro. Not everybody's on the same page. Yeah, right. Eyes open. And I'm not picking on him about it, but he has to understand that not everybody sees and desires what he desires. And that doesn't make people bad. But to call people names and, you're calling people pedo protectors when you yourself won't get off your fucking couch is just wild to me. And you know, hey, shame on me for trying to help you because you can believe I never will again. And as far as talking to you, I don't want to have a conversation with you again because I feel stupider every time I do. You've wasted that chance and acting like, we've wasted a chance to talk to you. Nah, bro. That's the other way around. 100%. I will not I will not ever reach back out to you again. And you claim that, like people you haven't had a conversation with somebody, that's your fault. Yeah, called his wife and kids pedo protectors. Dude, and we all see what's going on and he's like, "Oh, well just tell me." Well, when we do, you don't do nothing but cuss at everybody. Um, bro, you have done so much irreparable damage to your family and you don't slow down to even think about it. Like, it's not normal for your kid to get drunk every night and throw up his guts up on the porch because he can't handle his life. You've done that. Talking about said there's going to be separation. Yeah, there is, Carl, and you're going to be the one that's separated and not for the good. So you can call everybody liars and, whatever it is that you want to do, you want the attention from other people and you want them to praise you as a chosen one. But unfortunately, all you're chosen for is hell, and you're too stupid to realize what you're doing to yourself. Yeah, he doesn't want help. If he wanted help, he'd go to the doctor. We are not, you know, certified in the help that he needs. Right, Copper Top is crazy, man. The dude is really lost, and I felt sorry for him, but like Rusty said, I gotta quit feeling sorry for people because that's what they want, just like trolls on the internet, trolls want you to feed them, and I refuse. I refuse. And he's got these catchphrases that he tries to beat everybody up with, when in all reality, he ain't doing nothing but beating himself up. He is very, very lost in this world, and I just happen to think that it's a waste of time. Sometimes, you want the best for people, but you want it all you want. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen. Let me see. We're gonna pull up another one of hers. I like this lady, man. I wish that she would have stayed around more. I'm praying that everything's okay with her. I actually commented on Isaac channel thinking I was commenting on hers last night. Hey, mama. Oh, who knows, Nickel G? That dude's so lost too. Let's see here. Things that make you go, hmm. Let's see what she's talking about. Nah, I had to get me a cup of coffee, Don. Pig vomit. Damn. I know the feeling by you. Jeez, I know the feeling. We just watching old Granny Boots. He didn't want he doesn't want to gain a step. He likes the back and forth. It's the only excitement that he gets in his day. I mean, Jesus Christ, the dude's imprisoned. He's imprisoned himself in the house. But I mean, that's nobody's fault but his own. Well, y'all, hey, Nickel G, did you see the gat that Martha got? Boy, howdy. You better look out. He ain't playing. I thought about going by Walmart and seeing, asking him what kind of ammo that thing took, if it was plastic BBs or them darts, but he's uh he's sending a clear message to Isaac. He gonna shoot Isaac in the head with that them little rubber sticky darts, the little plunger ones. Mm. Oh, hell, what the hell did I do?
with no thought of the safety and well-being of the.
How long did I do that for? I must have hit the button. She's
And
talking
I
about
believe that there was
John
some type
McCain.
of instrument setting that was too low, and he ended up having to ditch the plane in the
My
water.
bad, y'all.
Now, of course, pig vomit being pig vomit, blamed it on the plane, right? The Navy officials that investigated his
Right, okay.
incident, right? Termed
I'm still not
it was
screen
pilot
sharing.
error. It wasn't the plane's problem
Y'all can see it now, can't you? Info Warriors.
at all. He was flying too low at the wrong setting. So, how much did that plane cost the American taxpayer?
10 minutes. Oh,
Yet
shit.
another quote unquote incident was a plane he.
All right, we'll back it all the way up. Then. I'm sorry, y'all.
So, guys, I'm still working on my greatest president in my
I haven't
lifetime
seen her,
series,
Deb.
but I was doing a little brainstorming and I have a new series alert. I want to do some shorter videos under the title Things That Make You Go, And there was something I've been wanting to share for a while, and I thought this would be the perfect way to start. So I'm going to jump right into it. Does anyone remember this interview and this comment?
Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Now, most of the population were very offended by this. There was TDS meltdowns, gasping, audible pearl clutching sounds. I even think there was an uptick in patients seeking psychiatric care afterwards. But bringing this back to my main point, how many people questioned why he said that? Most people just became offended because we've all been given the impression that the person he was speaking about was a quote unquote war hero and spent 5 years in a quote unquote POW camp. We've never questioned it. As a matter of fact, he became the Republican presidential candidate in 2008, right? But knowing the greatest president in my lifetime, as I've come to know him, there is a method to his madness. The man does not fly by the seat of his pants. There is purposeful thought behind everything he says and everything he does. I'm going to insert this after the fact, but when the greatest president in my lifetime is referring to liking people who were not captured, is he speaking about their physical body or is he speaking about their mind? And is he referring only to military personnel? Things that make you go, Similar to when he walked in front of the Queen. Remember when he took a trip over there to visit the Queen? And the whole world was insulted at how rude he was. How many of you scratched the surface on why he would have done such a thing and how he could have done such a thing? And I'm not going to get into that subject right now, but think about it. But back to what's his face? No Name McStain. That's not a phrase I came up with on my own.
I'll tell you why he did it. Because the fucking people over there, her kinfolks, was messing with them youngins, which we all know that now, right? But that's why Trump knew more information than what we knew.
Know of some people that refer to him as that, and it's appropriate. I would have named him Pig Vomit personally, but I'm me and they're them. And I know eventually I'm going to have to actually say his name here in a minute, but I do want to give everybody a heads up. If you're still under the impression this guy, the former senator from Arizona and former presidential candidate, is a good guy and is also a hero and spent 5 years in Vietnam as a quote POW, and you're unwilling to maybe entertain the idea that none of those things are true, this probably isn't the video that you're going to want to listen to. Truth be known, it's not like they haven't covered up other quote unquote war heroes' backgrounds or military service. This ain't their first rodeo. That's for sure. And I'm sure that's going to come up in a future video. But for the moment, oh my goodness, where do I start? John Sidney McCain III was born 322 BC in his hometown of the fiery pits of hell.
Chill, Granny, chill. You need to take your boots off.
What's
That's
up,
the
Star
last time I'm
Grazer?
gonna choke that guy's name out. And to be honest with you, I would rather have voluntary root canal surgery with no Novocaine than go through that guy's childhood and biography, blah. So from now on, henceforth, I dub thee
Pig vomit.
But anyway, everybody can look up his childhood and see what kind of cotton candy verbiage they used for who he was and so forth. On the down low, spoiled, snot-nosed brat. Lots of temper tantrums when he didn't get his way. And let's go ahead and fast forward. This is all stuff you guys can look up, so I'm not really going to put a whole lot as far as visuals. Pig vomit
Hey,
attended
Stephanie, I just
Annapolis
realized you was
Naval
here.
Academy. class of 1958. And if memory serves, he graduated 893rd in a class of 899.
In other words, he's a dumbass.
But as we all know, because we had it crammed down our throats, Pig Vomit was a pilot and he crashed in Vietnam. Was a war hero because he remained in a POW camp for 5 years and he was tortured. Stories that change all the time, tortured. And he was tortured and he survived. He's a survivor, right? Or are there indicators that may contradict all of that? Well, let's start with the most glaring question. He's a pilot, right? We just went through that. Now, to become a pilot and get your wings, you have to work your ass off. And there are only a select few that they choose to even attend flight school. So please tell me, if they usually only choose the highest achieving students, how is it that a graduate who by all accounts screwed off his whole entire time there, in my personal opinion,
Is he doing that tonight, Copper Top?
was a total douchebag? How is it that somebody who graduated 893rd in a class of 899 was chosen to even attend flight school to begin with?
I want it now. What's the matter with those twats down there?
And if it ain't bad enough that he attended flight school and earned his wings, by all accounts, he freaking sucked as a pilot. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that because it's evidenced by 3 crashes early on in his career. And this first one, I'm going to go off memory. I believe it was off the coast of Corpus Christi in the Gulf of Mexico. And forgive me if this sounds ignorant to pilots out there. These are all things that everybody can look up if they scratch the surface a little bit. But if memory serves, he was making a turn to head in for a landing, and I believe that there was some type of instrument setting that was too low, and he ended up having to ditch the plane in the water. Now, of course, Pig Vomit, being Pig Vomit, blamed it on the plane, right? The Navy officials that investigated his incident, right, termed it was pilot error. It wasn't the plane's problem at all. He was flying too low at the wrong setting. So how much did that plane cost the American taxpayer? Yet another quote unquote incident was a plane he crashed. I believe it was in Virginia. And again, if memory serves, don't quote me on this because you guys can look this up. He had taken a plane to fly to another state to go to a football game, some shit like that. Like it was his own personal vehicle. And then upon return,
That shit's
into,
crazy.
if I'm not mistaken, Virginia, something happened there too. And he ended up crashing that plane, obviously survived. But who gave him permission to take a plane to head to another state for a football game?
The third plane he crashed in training was his dad would let him take these fighter jets for like personal weekend joyrides to go see girls and sporting events in other states.
Hello. And also, if memory serves, I could be wrong about this. I do remember reading or hearing something about him having Christmas gifts for his family inside the plane. Okay. So he was using United States government property for his own personal transportation. Sounds familiar. And one of the grossest incidents, I believe it was in 1965, not 100%.
Well, we see
sure.
Dub's
He was flying
cousin.
a plane too low. This is over Spain, and he somehow clipped some electrical wires, knocking out all the power for blocks. Somewhere in Spain, knocked out all the power. They had a blackout, the whole 9. And apparently, Pig Vomit returned back to the aircraft carrier with the dangling electrical wires still stuck to his plane.
Well, we don't have any lights, but now we know the speed of stupid.
Brainiac. Jeez. So that caused a headache and a nightmare for the Spanish people. I hope you guys caught my correction. I got Spain and Virginia mixed up. Spain was 1961, Virginia 1965. Now, see, the irony of all of this is I shouldn't have to correct the years of multiple crashes. Mind you, all of them were a direct result of incompetency, stupidity, or just the overwhelming desire to be a dick and screw off while flying a multi-million-dollar piece of machinery owned by the United States government with no thought of the safety and well-being of the citizens on the ground, etc., etc. This actually brings me to my next question, and I'm not sure the preference between being referred to as an aviator or a pilot, but I want to ask all branches of the government, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Army, any pilot out there, how many individuals do you know of that wouldn't have lost their wings after the very first incident? How was he even permitted to fly after that? I mean, causing that blackout in Spain caused an international incident. How many pilots do you know of that would have kept their wings after the first crash, after having to ditch the first plane in the water? How was he permitted to remain in the air? There you go. Things that make you go, And really, this is an easy.
Hey, and let me tell you, if that was anybody else, they would have lost them. I guarantee it. All right. So that's enough granny for right now. But y'all get the gist of it, right? They feed us a bunch of bullshit and we're just supposed to take it. And I don't know, man. What can we do about it other than vote them out? You got an idiot that thinks we're just supposed to fucking make it go away today. It doesn't work that way. Some of us wish it did, but that's just not the way it works. And you got to be retarded to think that it is, or to even, bash other people thinking that it was that way. You can't be that dumb. Minnesota filed a lawsuit to stop ISIS. What a bunch of idiots. What a bunch of idiots. Hey, I feel bad for the lady, that's no longer here over that shit, but you got to quit letting politicians gaslight you and get you to do that type of stuff, man.
These eyes wink. And these eyes help those eyes see their best.
With a quality eye exam and 2 pairs of glasses at one.
And you know that, I don't know if it was AI or what, but if it wasn't, that lady is done put that car up for sale, the wife, and she was joking around about it in the video that I seen. Like I said, I don't know if it's AI or not, but if that is your mindset when you just lost your significant other, Jesus Christ, no wonder you're out there protesting.
Great price. An eye exam plus 2 progressives for $195 at America's Best.
Meanwhile, the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul are suing the federal government to try to stop the surge of ICE enforcement.
Yeah, this after home.
So they want the illegals there. That's what they're. I just don't get it, right? Come on, man. All this fraud and corruption, and you don't want it stopped. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So do you want a better life? Like, a lot of people don't understand this, but there's going to be a shortage of labor here, just to be 100% honest with you. And the reason being is because this has went on, and these people come over here and cut the prices, and we cannot keep up. Americans cannot work for them low wages like that. And it's mind-boggling to me that these people don't understand that. But the people that are protesting this have one, either never owned a business or tried to start a business. It's weird, man.
Homeland Security announced it was sending in more agents. ABC's Michelle Franzen has the very latest.
Fencing and concrete barriers placed
They have
outside
height.
the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis.
She was most likely just. Oh, yeah, most definitely Stargate. But you have to realize, these people have to realize they've been getting, fucked with for trying to do their job. And I mean, they're only humans. When you start cutting them off and, trying to block traffic with your car, they're not going to take but so much. And like they say, that dude had just been drugged. He just got healed up from being drugged by another car. I mean, when the police are, I don't care who you are, you have to listen to what you're told. You're not above the law. If you feel like your rights have been violated, deal with it later. Don't try to be above the law. That goes, and 99% of the people you see that get hurt, it's somebody who was throwing a fit and acting like a baby, man. It's crazy. You do what you're supposed to do, even if they are violating your rights. And no, it's not right to get your rights violated. I get that. I know my rights, y'all.
Minneapolis, where protesters returned today, demonstrating after an ICE officer shot and killed Renee Good last week. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and his wife visiting the growing memorial on the street where Good was shot. Across Minneapolis, immigration operations are ramping up.
See, and they'll take no responsibility for gaslighting these people at all. None.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on Sunday saying hundreds more federal officers will be mobilized to Minnesota to help ICE and Border Patrol do their jobs. At a press conference today, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, along with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey and St. Paul's Mayor, announced a lawsuit against Homeland Security over its federal deployment.
We are not asking ICE not to do ICE things.
Code, I get that.
We
I
are
get that. But you have to understand, I mean, he's trying to handle the situation the best he can. He's trying to clean up a mess that somebody else created for him. These people should have never been allowed to come over here like that to start with.
We're asking this federal government to stop the unconstitutional conduct that is invading our streets each and every day.
State and city authorities say demonstrations remain peaceful overall, despite heated clashes and arrests over the weekend. As federal agents arrived in one neighborhood, rammed the door open at a home, and later walked out with a man in handcuffs. There is growing criticism over the federal response to the deadly ICE shooting.
Why did
Demonstrations
listen?
stretching across the
Here's
country.
here's the part that these people are for not recognizing. She pulled her car in the middle of the road to try to stop these ICE agents from going down the road. You don't do that. I mean, that.
The White House today doubling down on their support for the operations and saying the officer, Jonathan Ross, acted in self-defense.
This administration will continue to stand wholeheartedly by the brave men and women of ICE, including that officer in Minneapolis, who was absolutely justified.
Minneapolis schools reopened today for the first time since the shooting. Students at Maple Grove High School, along with Roosevelt High School, staged a walkout and protest.
Congressional Democrats
now they're
are
getting
also
it.
threatening to block DHS.
So now they're getting the kids involved. See, it's all a training process. They're programming these kids. They're leading them down a hard road.
If there is not a transparent investigation. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Let's see.
President Trump declaring a national emergency to guard Venezuelan oil revenue from any lawsuits or creditors. And after meeting with energy executives at the White House, the administration is hoping to get oil giants to invest $100 billion to help rebuild Venezuela's infrastructure. But the reception might not be as warm as Trump had hoped. Exxon is calling the country, quote, uninvestable, but the White House says they'll come around.
We had Chevron, Shell, Repsol, Eni, four of the biggest oil companies in the world saying we will immediately
Let me tell you
start
something. It will not last. Not in Florida, it won't. You got the wrong governor. You got the wrong governor there.
ramping up our investments and growing our production. I've got a crew of American wildcatters that said, we'll go down this week and start checking things out. We're ready to go.
Probably be inclined to keep Exxon out. I didn't like their response where they're playing too cute.
And the president is working to put pressure on another Latin American communist stronghold, Cuba, cutting off all oil and money going into the country. I want to hit both those points, Lou and Jackie. I know with your oil expertise.
Hey, let me tell you, you know, a lot of people don't realize this. They think that the United States has cut Cuba off a long time ago, and that's an absolute lie. We send frozen chicken over there by the semi-trailer loads every day. Every day. Hey, Danielle.
Your thoughts as well. ExxonMobil, we can talk about oil companies going into Venezuela. Let's talk about that first, and then let's get to maybe the indirect way of getting to Cuba.
Yeah. Can anyone blame them for being reluctant? I mean, Exxon and Conoco especially, they lost billions of dollars the last 2 times that they were involved with Venezuelan oil exploration. I think the key thing you have to remember here, these companies are spending about $15 to $20 billion a year on their own for domestic and international production. What the president's asking them to do is invest that much or more in Venezuela. So
yeah,
this
but
is
you
not
get revenue, you get profits.
you might get
good,
revenue, you might get profits.
stuff.
Here's the key, though. The Venezuelan oil is not an easy oil to refine. We are talking about our refiners being able to handle this heavy sour crude. It's geared towards Canadian heavy sand oil, right? It's not geared towards Venezuelan. Venezuelan is very different. It has a high sulfur content. It's almost like pavement. Yeah, it's great for diesel, but you have to gear the refiners to handle that. They're processing about 5 million barrels a day of Canadian heavy oil sands oil, this heavy sour. It's not the same. There's chemical differences. So it's not an easy switch. So I think this is key. No guarantee that you're going to get the money. We've lost money here before, so why wouldn't you be reluctant as a super major to put more money to work? You've got to secure that I'm going to get a return on my investment. And ironically, at $55, $60 a barrel, you're not getting a good return on your investment.
But Jackie, there's a difference between not being guaranteed a return and being reluctant and hesitant versus saying uninvestable, right? Where do you come down on those?
Yes, I think uninvestable is very, very extreme to the point that you're making. I hear you on the refinery challenges. That's probably one of our biggest challenges here at home anyway, is that we don't even have enough refining capacity to handle our own oil, let alone trying to refine a different level and capacity of crude, if you want to call it that. So I think that's an issue, but that doesn't mean that these aren't challenges that can be overcome and that this oil isn't worth something. It's worth a lot. Brian, you've brought up this idea that it's on the global stage. The reason oil prices didn't really significantly spike because of this is because we're very well supplied here at home in the United States and through other avenues as well. But, money is money. And
it's awful funny you hear these people talking about, look, man, already from Venezuela, the prices. No, idiot. That didn't have anything to do with it. Not the first fucking thing. They ain't even got the shit over here yet to refine it. How in the hell you think that oil prices and gas prices have dropped already over that? Tell me you don't know without telling me you don't know.
Oil is oil. And I just think that if you were a company being skeptical about this, I understand that. But if you were going to thumb your nose up at the prospect while your competitors were going there to do work there, you'll be last in the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think absolutely totally agree with you. In the long term, there's a
it was
valid
already
reason
going
to
down,
be there.
Josh.
In the short term, it's just not as compelling.
At
So I
all.
think long term, the
Time.
president's doing the
I
right things,
listened to
taking
that
steps
idiot over
to
there.
compel and incentive.
And he says, gas was $1.69, and then he corrected himself. How do you know what gas is? Like, you ain't bought gas in a couple years.
Advise these companies to invest.
My biggest fear is what happens with this transition and how long does it take? Because if the Democrats win the White House in the next election, then if you're an energy company and all of a sudden you went to set up shop in Venezuela, you could have a serious problem.
Yeah, you get a reverse Cardin Uno on that.
So,
and 3 years isn't that far off.
No,
it's not in $100 billion investment world. It's pretty lickety split. Brian, wanted to come to you on this because we've been talking about sort of the geopolitical issues in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And this was never just about Venezuelan oil. This was about who's in bed with Venezuela, Iran, China, Russia.
The big bed.
Oh, and then we've
The very big bed.
our little neighbor Cuba over there who's
Yes.
dependent on Venezuela oil. And
Yes.
if we start to cut them off, do we use oil as a way to help promote democracy?
Most
And we've talked
definitely.
about pro-democracy protests on the ground in other regions of the world. How do you think about that?
Well, I do think that's how the president's thinking about it. Cuba gave Venezuela intelligence services, which failed abysmally when we took Maduro. Venezuela gives Cuba oil. President says, we're not going to do that anymore. I don't think you have to go for democracy in Cuba, but I do think you can show the world you're serious about bad actors when you use oil as a way to punish those who are bad actors. I don't blame Exxon for not wanting to go into Venezuela. I think Exxon's negotiating here. They've got a lot of leverage. Anybody with leverage is going to negotiate. They're saying if we go back, imagine you get dumped twice by a girlfriend and both times she steals all your stuff.
Is this
after
a
she
personal
dumps you.
anecdote, or is this
No,
just an-
Sounds like Martin, don't it?
totally hypothetical.
What's that saying? Fool me
What's up, Jeff
once,
Stewart?
shame on you.
So Exxon's
Fool me
been fooled a
twice,
couple
shame on
times.
me.
So that's fine, because how many people were around that table? There were like 20 people around that table.
Lots.
There was a lot of guys there who are not at Exxon's level, but who are hungry and they may want to take
Can I
a
ask
risk.
a question though?
Yes.
What happens in the situation with Cuba? Because I saw a chart this morning that I wasn't necessarily expecting to be the case, which is that some of the oil that Cuba gets is from Venezuela, but some of it is from Russia and some of it is from Mexico. What if Russia ups the ante to supply them in the of this?
Can I just
Yeah.
get in there? Because I covered the region for 12 years. I was in Cuba shortly after the Soviet Union died. And that was a crisis, because overnight they lost 60% of their GDP. That's how much the old Soviet Union was giving them in terms of oil. And a lot of the oil that they were given wasn't just for domestic use. They would sell it on the open market. So it was essentially a gift from the Soviet Union, because for the Soviet Union, it was a great listening base for the United States. Of course, at one point, it was also a place for their missiles. That ended with the Cuban Missile Crisis. But when I was there, and it was about 93 or so, when they really were suffering terribly, had it not been for the presence of Fidel Castro, who died about 15 years after that, the country probably, the Communist Party probably would have lost at that point. That's how bad it got. Castro was very clever. What he did was he opened up the country to private enterprise, and it began to take off like wildfire. The Cubans, all you have to do is go to Miami and see how good Cubans are at entrepreneurship. They're brilliant at it, and they still have the fervor. It's not unlike Iran. You and I, Jackie, have talked about this before. The Iranians are very good at starting businesses as well. It was happening in Cuba, but because Fidel allowed just enough private enterprise to take off to keep the economy going, to keep the economy alive, the Communist Party survived, and they continued to hold on to power. Fidel is long gone. The current leader's a jerk. He's kind of like Maduro in Venezuela. The people are ready for a change. I think, and of course, it's not only Nicaragua. It's not only Cuba. It's also Nicaragua. And there are a couple of other socialist countries that rely on Venezuelan oil. So it could be a cascading effect.
Wow.
That we would see where the entire Western Hemisphere, after Argentina, Brazil is a big exception, but basically all of the Western Hemisphere could be devoted to capitalism, except New York City. That's the irony.
So that explains a little more, right? So Trump, when he's taking Venezuela out, he's taking all of them out.
Is I'm fleeing to Venezuela to flee communism in New York City. Okay, so let's talk about the Western Hemisphere, Lou. A lot of people 2 weeks ago in the Maduro news relearned our history lessons with the Monroe Doctrine and calling it the Don Roe Doctrine, and basically saying if it's in our backyard, it is our moral imperative to just watch our backs, right? And if that means capitalism, so be it. The Western Hemisphere is ours. China, stay out of it. Does that work? Do you buy that?
I do buy it, because if not America, then who? Someone else is going to do it. Then China, then Russia. If the president sits and is just still and doesn't do anything, everyone else, our adversaries, are very active. So I think you need to do that. I think you're seeing it reshuffle and make every foreign adversary reconsider what their plans might be. China, what are you thinking about Taiwan necessarily, right? We saw over this weekend, we thought maybe there was going to be an invasion in Iran, right? To help usher that in. I mean, there was rumors of that as well.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Agree. Like preparations are being made. So I think the Don Roe Doctrine absolutely is necessary. I don't want to boil this whole invasion to get Maduro down to oil like everyone wants to. I think there's a propensity to simplify and say it's always about one thing. It was about oil, or was it about rare earths, or was it about diplomacy and national security? It's how about all of the above? I mean, we talked about this last week. I think the president is, for the first time for a U.S. president in a long time, thinking like the Chinese in decades and centuries, not just in midterms.
Right,
presidential.
And
that's what I
the
heard.
key is, who would you rather have get involved in Venezuelan oil? The United States, which is because of the fact that we share the same hemisphere with Venezuela. We're a short plane trip away from Venezuela. Would you rather have the Chinese go halfway around the world and control Venezuelan oil, or us? It is a them or us situation.
It's pretty enlightening. That was pretty enlightening. Silver is using all these AI chips. It's the only metal that can handle the high electric output. Copper won't take the power. That I did not know. But then again, Unc ain't real technical savvy any fucking way, if I'm going to be 100% honest. What's up, Motivated? How you doing, sir? Hopefully everything's good. We ain't doing shit. We just bullshitting around. I wanted to make sure that Carl seen that video again. Oh, shit. Let me see. Isaac may be going live. What it looks like. Let me go back over here. All right. He's going live here in 30 minutes, and we'll all go check in over there and support my brother. What's up, Inferno? 9 days. You think so? Let's go over here. Hey, I'm gonna play that clip from Isaac this morning. That shit was shit. Let me share this shit right here. Yes, Chef. Heard, Chef. That's what's up, Motivated. I'm glad to hear that. That is what's up. Yeah,
when you go and you pull your gun up like this and you fucking have it to your side, it's not drawn yet. Drawn is when you pull it out and you cock it and you shoot. Okay, that is when you cock it and you shoot. You get it? That is drawing your weapon. Get it? You understand? Do you understand that? It's so mind-blowing that you're trying to talk this off like it isn't real.
Oh, when we're coming, you're going to hear this. I jump behind the couch, duck for cover, because the motherfucking I go cause death and destruction. The first was a musket gun to kill the elephant. 9mm Glock, bling bling spray, rather Desert Eagle. And when we're coming, you're going to hear this. Oh, when we're coming, you're going to hear this. Oh, when we're coming, you're going to hear this. Let me tell you something about 10mm Glock, Winchester rifle, sniper scope. They even got it on a satellite in outer space that will fuck up something on Earth. And when we're coming, you're going to hear this.
Yeah, if you ain't subscribed to Leg Day, please do.
Oh, when we're coming, you're going to hear this. Oh, when we're coming, you're going to hear this. Let me tell you something about
Nah, this motherfucker, bro. And then he like literally tried to make it look like he's pulling it out of a holster and shit, bro. You stupid bitch. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. What are you doing, man? I'm sending this to his wife. I'm sending this to Valerie, bro. She needs to know he got a gun in her house. Oh, she needs to go. She needs to know he got a gun in her house. It ain't safe for her to be around it. Holy shit. You gotta, Valerie, don't go over there. He's gonna shoot you. Don't go. Please don't go. We're trying to save you. We're trying to save you from getting red whelps all over you. Don't go to Martin's house. Bro, I can't fucking do this shit, bro. I can't. Mark will be like, I'm gonna fill your face up with red whelps. You're gonna look like you got bit by fire ants.
Oh
shit. No, don't shoot. Don't shoot. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, bro, don't shoot. Oh, Martin, don't shoot. I wonder if he got a matching target to go with it. Don't shoot, Martin, don't shoot. Oh, man. Bruh, I wonder if he got I wonder if he got that fucking airsoft gun because he tired of getting robbed for his bicycles and his dope. Oh, shit. Oh, no, bro, don't shoot. Don't shoot.
That shit is hilarious.
When you go and you pull your gun up like this and you fucking have it to your side, it's not drawn.
You know, he really thinking like he's scaring somebody. Like, I'm armed, bitch. This motherfucker done went and stole the youngins next door's fucking toys.
On yet. Drawn is when you pull it out and you cock it and you shoot. Okay.
You can tell it's a fucking plastic toy.
That is when you cock it and you shoot. You get it? That is drawing your weapon. Get it? You understand? Do you understand that? It's so mind that you're trying to talk this off like it isn't real. And you pull your
You can tell it's a fucking toy.
gun up like this.
He's trying to flash it like he's hard. Oh, shit. Look out. Martin's armed. Ah. Yeah, very clueless. Very clueless. He looks retarded. There's a certain sound that a gun makes. And it doesn't sound like plastic. For sure. If you've ever had a gun pointed at you, you know that sound when they rack it back. It sure don't sound like fucking that. What an idiot. All right. I will see y'all over at Leg Days. Y'all, we out.